Before we start, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell to turn on notifications.
As we all know, drug traffickers are living a life full of risks because of their business, which could lead to death or harm or arrest at any moment. And today, we're going to talk about one of the most notorious drug lords in history, Joaquin Guzman El Chapo. The many prison escapes of El Chapo shows us that the drug trade isn't that easy business as we see in the movies. In fact, it is a dangerous, deadly business which could lead to indirect death through the distribution of toxic products among all ages. And also, direct death through exchange in fire between drug dealers and police. Joaquin Guzman Loera, who is commonly known as El Chapo because of his 168 cm stature, was born on the 4th of April 1957 in Mexico, Sinaloa, and raised in a poor family who lives on farming. But he became the drug lord and the formal leader of the Sinaloa Cartel, which is a large international drug trafficking, money laundering, and organized crime cartel, established during the late 1980s. El Chapo is considered to have been one of the most powerful drug traffickers in the world. El Chapo's childhood was shaped by his family's poverty and his abusive father, who is a violent man who was in the drug trade. He engaged El Chapo in his career to help him grow marijuana for local dealers during his adulthood. El Chapo began working with Hector Luis Palma Salazar by the late 1970s. He helped him to move drugs through Sinaloa into the United States. Later, El Chapo worked for Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo, who is one of the leading kingpins. But El Chapo founded his own cartel in 1988 after Gallardo's arrest. In his guidance, the Sinaloa Cartel created intelligent smuggling techniques and strategies. He built tunnels under the United States and Mexico's borders to move drugs from Mexico to the United States, hiding it in chili pepper cans and fire extinguishers. In 1993, El Chapo was arrested in Guatemala at a hotel near Tapachula, close to the Guatemala-Mexico border. He was extradited to Mexico 2 days later aboard a military airplane. He was taken to the Federal Social Readaptation Center No. 1, a maximum security prison in Almoloya de Juarez in Mexico. He was charged in murder, kidnapping, and drug trafficking, so that he was sentenced to 20 years. And he was later transferred to another maximum security prison, Federal Center for Social Rehabilitation No. 2. Even though El Chapo in prison, the business didn't stop because El Chapo was controlling and operating behind the bars with the help of his brother Joaquin Guzman Loera, known as El Polo. And also he was receiving suitcases of cash from the outside associates to bribe the guards and prison workers to allow him maintain his lifestyle even in prison. El Chapo in the prison could get whatever he wants. He even met his longtime mistress. In January 19, 2001, El Chapo made his first escape from the prison with the help of a corrupt prison guard named Francisco El Chito Camberos Rivera. The corrupted guard opened the cell's electric door of the notorious El Chapo, who hid himself in a laundry basket. After that, he was pushed through several doors by Camberos Rivera and eventually out of the front door. From there, El Chapo was transported in the trunk of a car driven by Camberos Rivera out of the town into a petrol station. While Camberos went inside, El Chapo was gone on foot into the night. It might sound too easy, but it turned out that El Chapo bribed all the cops to secure his gateway out of the town. He even bribed the warden of the prison and others who implicated his escape. This was an embarrassment for the Mexican authorities, because El Chapo allegedly had the prison guards on his roll and it cost him $2.5 million. Donald Trump tweeted about El Chapo saying, "Mexico's biggest drug lord escapes from jail. Unbelievable corruption, and the USA is paying the price. I told you so." El Chapo responded to what is believed to be the drug lord's official tweet, "Keep fucking around and I'm going to make you swallow your fucking words." After El Chapo escaped the prison, he kept on doing what he was doing before he was jailed. He even ordered to start an assassination that sparked what has come to be referred to as the Mexican drug war. because of the pact's violation between the cartels in 2006. This war resulted in over 60,000 deaths and 12,000 kidnappings. Then El Chapo became one of the richest billionaires and one of the most powerful men. El Chapo became one of the most wanted men in Mexico. So he started hiding for long periods in the remote areas of Sierra Madre Mountains without being captured. Some members of his security guards were arrested by the military and told them that El Chapo had begun venturing out into the mountains, and it was reported to have attended a family meeting in Sinaloa, so that the military followed the security guard steps to El Chapo's former wife's house. But they have trouble to get through the steel front door while El Chapo escaped through a secret tunnels. He went to Mazatlan to see his twin daughters, but on 22 February 2014, exactly at 3:45 a.m., after an operation between Mexican and US authorities, he was captured again at a hotel in beachfront area in Mazatlan. With the help of the DEA, he resisted physically, but he couldn't reach a rifle that he had close to him. This time, it was difficult for El Chapo to escape. He was surrounded by the military and police. When he moved around, no one could make a plan to extricate him. He was transported to the Federal Social Readaptation Center No. 1 by a Federal Police Black Hawk helicopter, which was escorted by 2 Navy helicopters and one from the Mexican Air Force. This time, El Chapo was locked up in a restricted high-secure prison, where he could bribe no one to escape. His cell was so small with no windows, and he was alone in his cell. He had one bed, a shower, and a single toilet. He had no contacts with anyone, and he was only allowed to see some few visitors from his family with no right to receive money or cash suits as he used to when he was prisoned at the first time. He was only granted to receive $48 a month to buy hygiene products. During his period in this prison, he was only allowed to take out of his cell. This prison was really secured with high surveillance cameras and well-trained guards who are not allowed to speak with prisoners. El Chapo was imprisoned in this high-secure prison after 13 years of his first escape. And now you might think that he could not make it again. But you are wrong. He actually made it. He escaped this maximum security prison and was considered a hero for it. On the 11th of July 2015, El Chapo escaped Federal Social Readaptation Center No. 1. There was a blind spot which the surveillance cameras could not catch. The spot was where the shower was, and at 9 p.m., El Chapo was seen by security cameras near the shower area in his cell, where he magically vanished. After 25 minutes, the guards did not see El Chapo on camera video, so that a personal guard went looking for him, but he didn't find him. El Chapo was gone through a tunnel which his men had been digging from a constructed site directly to his shower in his cell, because the diggers already knew the exact coordinates. The tunnel had ventilations and lights. Also, there was a motorbike which the authority thought it was used to transport the materials El Chapo may be used to get fast through the tunnel. The authorities later said that the tunnel was 10 meters deep underground and El Chapo used a ladder to climb the bottom. The tunnel was 1.7 kilometers tall and 75 centimeters in width. El Chapo did it and escaped from one of the most secured prisons. He was a free man again, but his freedom didn't last very long because the USA wanted him again. He tried his best to not be captured. He even assassinated a federal judge. But the manhunt had already started since the first day of his escape. The entire prison was in a state of a lockdown, and no one was allowed to get out or in. The Secretary of Interior, Miguel Angel Osorio Chong, who was in France waiting for the former president of Mexico, Peña Nieto, he heard the news about the escape of El Chapo, and he immediately returned back to Mexico. The former president, Peña Nieto, returned to Mexico on the 17th July, and stated that he was shocked about the jailbreak of the criminal El Chapo, and promised that the government would investigate in this case and see if anyone collaborated in the prison break. Peña Nieto also claimed that El Chapo Guzman's escape was an insult to Mexico's government. Apparently, El Chapo's escape made a big embarrassment to the Mexican government. because it highlighted the corruption in the country and suspected the country's ability to fight organized crime. This big noise which El Chapo caused would get him recaptured for the third time. In January 2016, after a raid, Guzman El Chapo could manage to get away again, but after a short time he was captured. This time is not just like the previous. He was extradited to the United States on January 19, 2017 and sentenced to a life prison to 30 years. Such criminals who run the cartels and escape the prisons should be transported securely to undisclosed places to avoid getting in trouble with organizations. So he was transported to a prison where there are many highly trained guards with modern artificial security equipment. This prison is known in short as ADX Florence. This is the United States Penitentiary Administrative Maximum Facility in Florence, Colorado. Inside this prison, there are cells of 2.1 by 3.6 meters for each prison. The cells are soundproof, so the prisoners could not communicate with each other. The doors can only be opened with remote control, and they can automatically lock after hitting the panic button. The lights are always on, and it is very hard to sleep. This prison is really high secured, and no one had ever escaped it before. The trained guards in this prison cannot be bribed, and El Chapo's men cannot dig tunnels under it as well. This prison is the end of one of the most notorious drug lords, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman.
Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos of crime and mysteries and much more interesting stories. I see you in the next video. Take care.